United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you all for coming. Do we have any comments from the public? Anybody would like to address the board? Okay, moving on. I need a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting on October 17th, 2016.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. You all have had the bills in front of you. So let's start off with a motion to approve, well, excuse me, additions or deletions.
We don't have any.
Now, I need a motion to approve and pay the bills.
I make a motion, we pay the bills.
Can you give a second? Okay, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried, thank you. Madam Clerk, we have some correspondence.
We do. We have a letter dated November 3rd, 2016, addressed to the Village of Rouses Point from Matthew Enhelder. The subject is his resignation. I, Matthew Enhelder, do hereby tender my resignation from the position of water treatment plant operator for the Village of Rouses Point. My final day will be Wednesday, November 16, 2016. I do so with appreciation and admiration for the village personnel I've had the pleasure of working alongside. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors professionally, Matthew Enhelder. And I need a motion to accept that.
Make a motion to accept Mr. Inhelder's resignation.
I make a motion to accept the resignation.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. All right, we have 3 resolutions, starting with the first one. As you know, we've already voted to combine the Village Justice Court with the Town Justice Court, effectively dissolving the Village Justice Court. We need to have a formal resolution to do that. So the resolution reads, a resolution to abolish the Office of Village Court Justice and to dissolve the Village Justice Court. Whereas the Village of Rouses Point, as part of their continuing effort to identify cost savings, has undertaken an evaluation and analysis of the economic practicality of maintaining the Village of Rouses Point, Village Court Justice, and Village Justice Court, and the impacts, both positive and negative, upon the village residents and taxpayers if the village court were to be dissolved. And whereas pursuant to Section 3-301, subsection 2A of the Village Law of the State of New York, the village may abolish the office of village justice by resolution, and whereas the resolution abolishing the office of village justice takes effect only upon the expiration of the then current term of such office, and whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point has thoroughly considered the impacts of a decision to dissolve the village court and to abolish the office of village court justice, and whereas the Board of Trustees has consulted with the Town of Champlain and finds that the Town of Champlain Justice Court is capable of handling the court matters presently processed, administered, and adjudicated by the village court, including matters involving the prosecution of violation of the village code, laws, rules, regulations, and whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that the abolition of the Office of Village Court Justice and the dissolution of the Village Justice Court is in the best interest of the village, and now therefore be it resolved that the Office of Village of Rouses Point Justice be and the same hereby is abolished upon the expiration of the current term of the Office of Village Justice ending April 3rd, 2016 at noon, and be it further resolved that the Village of Rouses Point Justice Court is hereby dissolved and all village court matters arising in the village following the end of the current term of the Office of Village Justice shall be referred to and processed, administered, and adjudicated by the Town of Champlain Justice Court. And be it further resolved that this resolution is adopted by the village clerk, is adopted, and the village clerk is hereby authorized to, and directed to publish and post notice of such adoption and abstract in accordance with the law. And the question of the foregoing resolution is formally put to a vote upon roll call as follows. So, okay, Trustee Mott?
Aye.
Trustee Moore's not here, absent. Trustee Arnold?
Aye.
Trustee Dart?
Aye.
3 ayes, the motion is carried. Okay, thank you. Next resolution. Designation of officers to be filled in the March 21st, 2017 election. Notice is hereby, notice is hereby given that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point, New York, has on the 7th day of November 2016 passed a resolution designating the officers to be voted on at the next village election. A copy of the complete resolution is as follows. Resolution 2016-27, whereas the next general election for the officers shall be held on March 21st, 2017, and whereas the Board of Trustees is adopting a resolution designating the officers to be filed in such election in the terms, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point designates the following offices are vacant at the end of the current official year to be filled at the village election to be on Tuesday, March 21st, 2017. Trustee, 2-year term. Trustee, 2-year term. Be it resolved that the village clerk is hereby directed to publish the resolution in full in the Press Republican. This resolution shall take effect immediately. The following question before going to put to a vote on roll call, which resulted as follows. So I need a motion for a roll call vote on this resolution.
I make a motion.
And a second?
Second.
Okay, further discussion on that? All right, trustee Mott,
Aye.
trustee Arnold,
Aye.
trustee Dart,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion is carried, thank you. Third and final resolution, to remove Lincoln Boulevard from the local highway inventory of the Village of Rouses Point, New York. We've already voted to do this, but the New York State Department of Transportation called us and told us we had to publish a resolution removing it from our local highway inventory. Whereas the Village of Rouses Point has determined that the road named Lincoln Boulevard, located within the corporate boundaries of the Village of Rouses Point, was formerly owned by the Champlain Industrial Development Agency, whereas the transfer of this property to the town of Champlain from the Champlain IDA, hereinafter referred to as the CIDA, occurred on May 13, 2013. This transfer of ownership was prompted by the repeal of Section 926E of the General Municipal Law, which provided funding for the CIDA. Further provision of that repeal included that all rights, titles, interests, obligations, liabilities, and records of the CIDA shall be transferred to, vested in, and possessed by the town of Champlain and the county of Clinton. Whereas Lincoln Boulevard is located within the corporate limits of the Village of Rouses Point and has been erroneously listed on the Village of Rouses Point local highway inventory, hereinafter referred to as LIH, will be removed from the LIH and per direction from the New York State Department of Transportation, hereinafter referred to as NYSDOT by this resolution. Whereas Lincoln Boulevard runs north from its intersection with Bridge Road, aka US Route 2, in Rouses Point, New York, and continues in a northerly direction for approximately 0.4 miles, terminating at a dead end. Lincoln Boulevard will not be maintained or serviced by the Village of Rouses Point and should be added to the local highway inventory of the town of Champlain for New York State DOT. I need a motion to call a roll call on this resolution.
I make a motion.
Second?
For Lincoln Boulevard.
Okay, further discussion before the vote? Okay, trustee Mott,
Aye.
trustee Arnold,
Aye.
trustee Dart,
Aye.
3 ayes, motion's carried, thank you. Okay, the AES contract, we've been talking about. This contract is for the firm of AES 2, which is Architecture, Engineering, and Land Surveying Northeast, is to select and specify new pumps, valves, meter equipment, motors, such as that, and IEP program requirements, and also provide schematic designs, drawings for piping and process modifications for other things in the water treatment plant. This is the partial automation we've been talking about. The AES contract has been reviewed by our attorney and scrupulously reviewed by our administrator. For this entire scope of Part 1 that we've been talking about, the cost is $17,406. It'll be billed on a monthly basis based on the percentage of contract work done. The contract will run from 1 year, November 2016 to November 2017. It will come from the money budgeted for the 2016-2017 water treatment plant budget. So I need a motion to accept this contract.
I'll make a motion that we accept the AES contract as read.
Second?
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion's carried, thank you. Okay, the last time you talked about where the electric rates were. It's been 34 years since an increase. We also went through the process that it takes to start requesting this increase from the Public Service Commission. This idea came from the audit that was done for the village. Specifically, again, this is the auditor's information. During the fiscal years ending May 31st, 2015 and 2014, the village electric fund has experienced net operating losses of $259,252 and $250,169 respectively. They expect the same thing will happen for 2016. As a result, the electric fund rate of return was a negative 3.4%. Currently, the PSC considers a positive 3.1 rate of return to be reasonable. While the electric fund's financial stability remains strong due to significant cash holdings and no long-term debt, a negative and our decreasing rate of return will begin to have a long-term deteriorating effect on the financial stability. It is apparent that the revenue generated by the current electric base rates is struggling to meet the electric fund's day-to-day operational costs, and these operating costs are only being met by the surplus cash balances. That was their conclusion, and they backed it up with figures. So if we want to proceed, we have to request a rate study to be done, to be reviewed by the Public Service Commission. The pricing for that rate study, as we said, is usually in the $16,500 to $17,500 range, and it is covered by the increase in the rates that they would give us. This isn't a case where PSC would just say, well, we're gonna raise the rates through the roof. They wanna get them to where we, getting a 3.1% rate of return, and on our base rate, I'm speaking to the treasurer, and it'd probably be less than half a cent a kilowatt hour, maybe a third of a cent a kilowatt hour. So it's a relatively minor thing, but if we want to look into the future, it's going to take 2 years to have this happen. So it may not even happen during any of our terms. Do we want to proceed with this or leave things as they are?
Two questions.
Yep.
Number one, at the projected increase, how long would it take to pay for a $17,000 study?
It comes out of it.
Well, is it a year, is it a month?
I don't have any idea. I know that it won't affect anything that we're doing. I mean, it's built into it, so that's where it comes from. But I don't know that. They didn't give us a time frame.
And where would the $17,000 come from? Electric department?
From the rates, yeah, from the rate increase.
I know, but what we gotta pay for right now?
No, it'll be paid, it isn't paid until after the rate increase goes into effect.
Oh, okay.
That's what
That's not a big thing.
Me, I don't think we're gonna have a lot of electric going on anymore. I mean, we're just about done our old electric project, underground project, and we're not gonna have $200,000-300,000 bill, you know, for tarmac and sidewalks and poles taken down or wire bought or whatever. I don't think we ought to do it right now myself.
Okay, again, you realize we're not doing it right now. We're talking about 2 years down the road.
Yeah.
And it's always gonna be 2 years away.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
from the people that we paid money to do an audit for us, they said it's apparent that the revenue generated by the current electric base rates charged to customers is struggling to meet the electric fund's day-to-day operational costs. So they're telling us we've lost for the last 2 years and we're gonna lose this year.
Yep.
And
I know
they don't
that.
anticipate it changing, and it's not based solely on the fact that we were underground, it's a day-to-day operational cost. But as long as everybody understands it,
Yeah.
I'm just reading what.
Well, to me, we're raising the taxes, gonna raise I'm sure, the sewer rates and the water rates again,
Mhm.
if Wyeth goes down and stuff, so I mean, I can't see doing this right now.
Okay, Trustee Dart, any comments?
Yeah, I'd like to see where all this sugar's off after we're done all our underground construction and see if that account can rebound to some extent. We can enter into this at any point that we desire. We don't have to do it today
Right.
or even 6 months from now, but 6 months from now or a year from now, we really see that the financial future is going to be negative, that department, then we could take action at that time. And based on other increases that are gonna be probably coming up within the next year, I wouldn't wanna see an electric increase right now. I think with Pfizer going out and the possible development of that property, 1 cent a kilowatt, a half a cent a kilowatt, sometimes when a huge manufacturer is looking at something, can make a difference whether or not their decision to locate here.
Well, if they locate outside, it's 14 cents a kilowatt hour, and here it's 3.5 cents. So I don't think a half a cent's gonna change the word. 3 times as cheap as NICEAG, so that's not an issue at all. The problem is if we wait, again, like you say, in a year from now, let's say we find that we're still losing money, well, you got another 2 years in front of you to work with. So as long as everybody's comfortable with that and there,
Yeah, I am.
then we'll leave it at that and move on. Okay? All right, next thing. The wastewater treatment plant is currently using a skid steer, which is 15 years old. It was a hand-me-down to them after 10 years of use. And they have been putting money in a reserve fund to purchase a new piece of equipment for operation there. They've now found a articulating loader. It's like a mini loader. It's called a Geel 540. And with a trade-in of the skid steer, this thing can be had for $39,500 when we have $50,000 available. It is not going to be able to be used as a sidewalk plow. It has a 5-foot wide wheelbase, so that can't happen for all of the streets. We could put a V plow on it if we had to and do Main Street, Pratt Street. But its primary purpose is going to be for use at the water treatment plant, and then also, again, they use that 1.5 days maybe. And if it needed to be used, because of its flexibility, you're in a cab, there's a lot more, it's a lot safer than a skid steer. It's a better piece of equipment. And
Just like a loader, similar to a loader.
it's what it is, except it's a smaller version of it.
Right.
It's a smaller version. So, I mean, it articulates in the front, just like the other. So, again, at one point, I know we thought it might have been, be available to be used as a street plow, but it's not. And this is what the chief mechanic has told me, and I know that he spoke to a couple of you on this thing. So, the water, like I said, the wastewater treatment plant skid steer is a 2001, and it can be traded in at a pretty reasonable rate, and bringing the cost of this thing down to $39,500. Are we interested in making this purchase?
When I spoke to him last week, he came and saw me, the village mechanic. He said that we were gonna have to come up with 20 grand on top of the skid steer.
No, you must have misunderstood. I got it right here. 21,500 is the trade-in. 39,500 is the total we'd have to pay for it.
Okay.
So, no,
How much are in the?
50,000 is in the reserve to purchase it. That's what the mechanic tells me. Mr. Treasurer, is that correct?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. So are we interested in going down that road? They're making the request, and
I'd like to remind the board that if you spend money out of a capital reserve account, there has to be a special resolution passed, just as a reminder.
Right, well, I guess we gotta find out what the feeling of the board is here first, if we even wanna have that prepared to go down this road, so. I'd like your opinions on it, and you talked to them, discussed it, what you think about it?
Well, in my opinion, if that's what the wastewater treatment plant wants, in fact, I like the idea of Dragoons having parts availability and service techs if we need them, rather than going with another piece of machinery, another brand of machinery, so, and if the money's in there, why not?
Yeah, they anticipate that the skid steer that's there, it's a 2001, so it's 15 years old, maybe they'll get another year or two out of it, but the fact is, the Dragoons Farm Equipment will give them a very good trade-in value towards this equipment, so we're getting rid of a 15-year piece of equipment, and replacing with this with money that's already been budgeted for such a purpose.
Is that state contract price?
Yes.
That's the state contract.
Gentlemen, you need to have some response here. What do you
Well,
want
I
to
think
do?
it's a fair deal to do that.
Question? Brian, has John exhausted all brands? I know he was looking at a couple others.
I have no idea.
I like the idea of Dragoons because of the parts availability also, and it appears that he's given us some pretty good money for that trade-in. But I just wanted to know, because I know there was one that he had ruled out.
He didn't, he did not, he came to us saying this was the best value. You know, I'm taking him at his word, he did a pretty good demonstration of it. I have the literature on it here, you all can look at it after the meeting, but if we want to go ahead, I can have the clerk, under direction of the treasurer, prepare a resolution for this expenditure. I mean, we don't need a motion, if you guys want to go with it, we can. move
Yeah, I think
forward.
it's,
Yeah,
I think
you all right with that?
go ahead, we'll move forward.
Okay, all right, so we'll have that taken care of. Okay, lastly, one item that's not on the agenda is a sewer project. 2 years ago, a landowner from Prospect Street, that's Chapman Street Extension, in the town at the top of the hill on the left where Dave Beauregard's place used to be, has requested that service for 4 sewers be provided there. The board at that time agreed if he would pay for all of the materials. He agreed to do that. Unfortunately, the check didn't come in for 2 years. Our Director of Public Works wanted to review the cost to see if it was the same or if piping had gone up. We agreed to in return for putting this in, we will have 4 new sewer units, and we would provide the labor, and it was estimated at about a day and a half for 3 people. The cost initially was $2,067 for sewer pipe and manhole with the ring. We have to add 12 ton of blacktop, $588, bringing a total of $2,655. At the time that this project was requested, the Pillsbury Road was not blacktopped. It is now, so we'd have to cut through the blacktop and repair it. So it would cost them an extra $588. So if you are all right for us to do that, would that be done this year or next year?
Next spring.
Okay, in the spring, Public Works will be able to do this, provided that the resident still wants to move ahead with this increased cost of $2,655. So are we willing to go ahead with that? We'll add 4 sewer units and,
I think it's a good idea.
okay. Okay.
Where are they doing with it right now, Leachfield?
I think they have a septic tank, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's what's back there now.
yeah. But the, if you're not hooked up to village sewer, you have to have a septic tank in town.
I know, but they're getting village water right now.
Yeah. Okay, so we can proceed with that. You can, do we need to recontact him, do you know? Did you talk to him personally, or?
I will.
Okay, so you go ahead and give him that new figure, the board agrees with that, and you can proceed. Okay? All right, thank you. All right, trustee Martin, you have anything?
Nope.
Trustee Arnold?
I talked to John Probacco about the bricks at the library,
Yep.
and he said he doesn't have, he doesn't do that anymore. So it's out of his question, so.
Okay.
Other than that, then the water plant, I guess, put in new filters in the industrial system,
Mm-hmm.
which I guess increased the pumping capacity a little bit.
Okay,
That's all I have.
all right. Trustee Dart?
Just one item, police department, we have a position open as a part-time police officer here in the village of Rouses Point. We advertised for such position. We had many applications, however, we only had one certified person apply, certified by the state of New York. And we could not, because of rules, other rules, we couldn't advertise that we needed a certified person.
Correct.
So, but we did have one apply. We reached out to that person to schedule an interview, and that person sent us a lengthy email back stating that he was going to decline the interview. It appears that he may not even be working in law enforcement right now, and so therefore we have no one to currently fill that position.
Okay,
If the board wants any more specifics about the person who we offered it to, I can mention it in executive session.
I think the simple fact remains that there's no applicant right now. So, I believe we have it posted on Department of Labor site.
Yes.
So rather than, I think it's around $600 for that to go in the paper.
Around 500,
Yeah.
right.
So we're gonna leave it on the Department of Labor site to see if we get anything and see what we get for inquiries rather than keep spending that money to advertise.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Okay. Anything else, Don?
No, thank you.
All right. Okay, other reports, Madam Clerk, you have something for us?
I do. I have 3 events that are coming up in the next month. The holiday train will be arriving on November 27th at 9 o'clock p.m. The Parade of Toys, which starts off at Rouse Park on December 2nd at 6:45. And the Toys for Tots will be December 3rd. The time will be determined, and if anybody needs information on the Toys for Tots, they can contact their local JCEO. And that's all I have.
Do we know where this Toys for Tots is gonna be?
That's the
here?
Marine Toys for Tots is
It's
right
up
up
at
at
the
the train
railroad station.
station.
So it's at the,
Yes,
is it a train coming in?
yes.
Okay, we don't know the date, times, or?
I have the date but no time, and they said they would get back to me with the
Okay.
time.
It's usually
Yes.
5:30, 6 o'clock,
Okay,
most of the time.
thank you.
And the fire department is gonna be up on that project. We're talking about it at the fire
For
department.
the holiday train as well, right, for the food,
For the food thing and for
Toys
the
for Tots.
marine train, yeah.
Okay, great. All right, does anybody have any comments for the board? All right then, I need a motion to go into executive session to discussions leading to the promotion of a particular person, discussions of proposed pending or current litigation, and matters leading to the appointment of a particular person. I guess I can do that. Clifford, do you have anything?
Good, sir, thank you.
Mr. Pelkey?
Just an update on the electric department. Chapman Street is 100% cut over on the underground. The new downtown 2 feeder is energized. That's the feeder that comes down by Ray Appliances. It's a feeder that we've been working on for the last couple of years that's gonna lighten up some of the load on the north end of the village here. So we're gonna be doing some cross tying there. The line crew is going to school for the rest of the week out in Syracuse. And next week, they're gonna start their straight voltage testing and transformer inspections. So they'll be out, there's a couple nights they have to go out and do the street lights, because of course the street lights have to be on to be tested. The street department, as you can see, the blacktop is finished. We did Barn Street. We had all our salt delivered, and the Smith Street water line is now complete and energized. So we have a really good hydrant on the end of Smith Street now, where we can put, we can do some flow testing. And we
Got
put off
8-inch
one of the
line
mo-
going to that?
What's that?
8-inch lines going to that now?
Yes, there's an 8-inch line all the way up, then the hydrant taps off with a 6.
Okay.
And we'll be able to put an automatic flusher there in the summertime, and it'll flush that whole line up in good shape.
Excellent.
We put a drain right at the base of the hydrant, so we won't be flooding anybody out,
No,
so,
that's a dead end too, so that's gonna help us, so. we
yes,
Keep that worked out.
that's about it.
Okay, good. How is the cleaning up around the transformers coming? Driving around town, I still see there's a few that need to be taken care
Yes,
of.
there's a little bit of cleanup to do. They went up on Smith Street today, and they cleaned up along the water line, and they went up and finished cleaning up the major piles up on Chapman Street.
Okay,
But unfortunately, it's so soft that it's hard to get off the edge of the
Yeah.
road, and
all right.
but we are getting them cleaned
Okay.
up. There's a lot of little projects that we're working on, clean up, get ready for winter here.
Excellent. Okay. Apologies for missing you initially. Okay, and we had no comments, so now I need a motion for the executive session as previously discussed.
Carson has a question.
Mr. Treasurer,
I just want to report that the unpaid tax list was turned over to the county, and we will receive payment for that in the spring. Also too, that the actual balance for our budget billing customers actually appears in the bills starting this month, so they should be happy with that.
okay, that's very good.
That's all I have.
I can't seem to get through everybody here for some reason, I'm not quite sure why. How's the administrator, do you have anything? Since I'm-
No, I do not. Everyone has covered everything. Thank you.
Okay. I think I'm ready. We need a motion to go into executive
I
session.
make a motion to go into executive session.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we will be going in after adjournment, allowing the public to leave. Thank you for your attendance.